I was sent back to unit, got an appointment again as 2IC of a company. I was, you know, a little more senior then, more experienced. And then we went to Germany, and we spent 3 years there. And that was the first time that I served in the NATO context in Germany, in a small village called Deilinghofen. And and it continued from there. Now the exercises, and of course in the front, where the potential were very different, because you were facing the Warsaw Pact bloc, but again, like we had done in the final stages of Korea, we exercised facing each other all the time, and it was not uncommon that we would see each other. And you'd see them across the line, or we would close to the line. I remember some of the exercises I was on, we were back right on the Czechoslovak border, playing the enemy force as if we were the ones that would come across the border to attack the NATO positions. And we played that role as Canadians quite often, because we were equipped a little differently. We talked differently from the Americans. We certainly didn't talk like the Germans. The French army was there, the British army was there. We were then with the British army in the north. But the Canadians, because of our different tactics and the way we speak on the radios and what have you, we made an ideal enemy force to exercise NATO. And we're often called upon to do that, with the great advantage that we got a much better workout than we would have as part of the big defensive force, because we got a chance to, you know, to do a lot of attacking techniques and things like this. And we started to slowly modernize by motorization, so the foot battles were getting, foot battles were still considered, and of course, because this is the way you'd still have to fight most of the time for an infantryman. But we had APCs coming on board, so we would move from one part of the battlefield to the other around the back very quickly. So our mobility and that sort of things, and protection against armor and shrapnel because of the armored vehicles and so on, grew exponentially. And then for the first time also, we got exposed to the possibility of nuclear fire on the battlefield, and which was never considered in Korea, at least certainly not at my level, never heard about it. So, but in Germany suddenly there's nuclear units, including a Canadian unit that has a nuclear launching capability, but we don't own the weapons, they're all owned by the Americans. And you go through a very extensive through exercises and what have you, and you would have gone through a very difficult time in operations, because what we call the nuclear release procedures, with 15 countries having to sign off on it, you can imagine how difficult it would be to achieve. And I faced that later in a higher level job in Germany, when I was in fact right in the thick of it. And that would be very difficult. But so so that leads us, of course, to considering what used to be called fractional yield weapons, which is, compared to the big bombs that had been dropped over Japan, they were things that would probably wipe out, you know, something closer to about half a mile in radius instead of half a city. And so you're very conscious then that your tactics change, your doctrine change, so you dispersed your troops considerably more than we would. At the same time, of course, you've got better weapon systems and better surveillance system, which allow you to cover the areas that are gaps in between. So we started doing that with trucks initially, before we got the EPCs. We would actually put a machine gun on top of a truck cab with somebody in the back manning it. And so we did a lot of the development of those doctrines on behalf of Canadians. The troops overseas were the front window, and we were the ones always getting the new kit first. So we did 3 years there. It was absolutely fantastic.